Some more infographics, murals on the side of the buildings. Beautiful stuff. We were able to serve, it was like a breakfast, later breakfast. Kids got a cup of, they called it porridge. It was like cream of wheat, banana, an egg, some something to drink. It was a fast line. It was a fast line. It was fun. Here's the kids just kind of hanging out and having their breakfast. This gentleman right here, from what I remember, he was the project director, and I believe he was the newly appointed project director. So that was kind of neat. Here's some of the scenery from where we were. I think we're having our lunch or something over there. It was pretty close to like 100 degrees that day. It was really hot. We did some games out in the field. This particular CDC had a lot of yard space. This was the potato sack race, so pay close attention to me.
Can we be on the same line? I am counting.
I don't think this is really fair.
To reach there. 3, 2, 1, 0.
Oh boy.
Not only did I obviously trip and fall and came in last the first race, I had a chance to redeem myself, and I tripped and fell the same way and came in last the second race too. So can't be good at everything, I guess. Here's the kids playing jump rope. A lot of basket weaving. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. We had quite a few opportunities to buy some of the handmade things that the kids and teenagers made, which was awesome. Beautiful, beautiful faces. So sweet. Here's our trip back to where we were staying. Very, very hilly, up big hills and down big hills, and some more shops. Beautiful place. So these guys and gals showed up when we pulled over on the side of the road to use the bathroom, and the mail got in between the pack and the bus, so we decided to take a couple pictures and not get out and go down the road and use the bathroom down there. You can see the baby. That was a little like a roadside market. There were clothes for sale. That's kind of how they had them. That's a Ugandan clothes rack, I guess you could say. I tried to capture some, craftsmen. These were, I would believe them to be handmade doors. Looks like he's got a wood shop there. He or she has a wood shop. Here's the our welcoming group at our next CDC. And that day was International Women's Day. So not only we were going to visit the CDC, we were going to take part in a celebration for International Women's Day. This was our parade, if you will, into the jungle, the bush. It was a good walk to the CDC from the road. I think the goat on the cart there was, I think that was lunch. I'm not sure. It was heading in our direction, so very sweet. Here's our coming up to the CDC. You can see that sign there that says AIDS does not discriminate. There's some ladies dressed up in their Sunday best for Women's Day, International Women's Day. Here are some of the handmade goods from the women and children for purchase. This particular CDC taught agriculture, which you would think it was, pretty commonplace, but, this was one of the ones that we visited. They had a very extensive set of skills that they taught. Some of my friends. Everyone kind of got a chuckle out of the men were making lunch, which was very different from what the norm is there. So there's one of the sewing machines. There were a few of them in this particular area. They kind of repositioned things so we could kind of have lunch and hang. This young lady right here was a former child sponsor and graduate of the program, and she, I believe, was in university or just graduated from university and was like the first person in the whole area to attend a university. We had a lot of nice presentations. There were a lot of different people here, politicians, leaders, all kinds of figures were present. a lot of different presentations from the children. The children would just, some of the children would come over and they just wanted to be held and hugged, and it's very sweet. Here's our closing picture. This was pretty interesting. If you're into construction at all, the scaffolding itself is just sticks and poles and rope, which I think up on the 4th or 5th tier there would be a little challenging. Here's how some of the affluent live, which is few and far between there. Here's Katuso, CDC. Met with a band and singing. Never got old. They gave us flowers, each of us flowers, as we got off the bus. And then we were played something we were not expecting to hear in Uganda.
Okay, all right. Wow.
That is a good trumpet player.
Wow.
We actually had responded after they played our national anthem by singing our national anthem, but it was pretty impactful. Here's the inside of the church. As you can see, we're back in the city, so churches and structures in the city are not as rural looking, or they don't have the dirt floors and stuff. Some more of my new friends. Serving lunch. This is the courtyard. The wherever we went, each CDC promoted hygiene and hand washing, and the children would all line up and wash their hands with soap and water. which was I thought that was kind of I started thinking about it at the end of the week and wanted to just capture all the wonderful work that everyone is doing with things like that. The middle poster there says, "Always pray for your sponsors," which I thought was very impactful. Here are some textbooks that this CDC was utilizing. These are compassion textbooks, and being in the education business, I was naturally interested in that. Income generating. Here's some of the contents: beadwork, cake decorating, electrical work, cutting, styling hair, raising chickens, small motor mechanics, welding. We also got an opportunity to sit in the classes that they had. This was on Saturday, so it was like a regular child development center day, which almost all of them or all of them. This is a regular day for them to have the kids there and kind of do all of the content and activities that they would. This class was about emotions and how to handle emotions in a healthy way, anger, and all kinds of stuff like that. There were, demonstrations, and it was a wonderful opportunity. This class was a bookbinding class. This was sandal making. Here's some of the raw material that you'll recognize that this is repurposed out of old tire treads, which I thought was pretty ingenious. Here's the finished product. A couple more of my friends there being silly. There's my colleague who was also my roommate, working with one of the kids. What was interesting was the kids, when they were working, they were really, really intently focused on what they were doing. It was interesting. Some of the raw materials for the baskets. So sweet. There's one of the finished products that I think I ended up buying that one. It's beautiful. This is the end of the day. We got to play games with the kids, and I believe some of my colleagues there were teaching them Ring Around the Rosie and spinning them around and just having a great time with them. The gentleman down below is Matthew, who is our other trip leader. These young men and women here are former sponsored children and also graduates of the programs, different programs. The two ladies in red work at that CDC. The lady on the left is the director of the CDC. And they all gave individual testimonies on what the child sponsorship meant to them and being able to be part of the activities through the CDC and how grateful they were. It was very emotional to hear the impact that you make. It was amazing. I believe we're saying goodbye. There's a hillside view of Kampala overlooking Lake Victoria, which is the second biggest lake in the world, next to Superior, I believe. That is a little yellow building there is a cell phone store. Here's some more craftsmanship. I believe a lot of the stuff there is like metal work. Thought that was cool. The name of the store was Philippians 4:13. It was the Sunday when I got to meet Regan.
Okay, there you are. Yep, it's playing.
Watched that clip at least 100 times and brings tears to my eye. That was a picture one of my colleagues took of him before he ran over to me. The gentleman on the left is his who brought him from his CDC, which was about 2 hours away. He was a pastor's kid turned accountant turned compassion, full-time compassion staff. Pretty cool. That's us at the mall that we went to. There were like games and stores and a pool and all kinds of stuff. We spent a lot of time just talking, and I will ask them a lot of questions about, you know, his family and school and dreams and what he wants to do and interests, and it was great. We had a good time. That's him looking at the stuff that we brought him. We brought him a backpack with some toothpaste, toothbrushes, socks, chocolate, some other candy, some Bibles. We brought hat and some other gifts for his family. 5 soccer balls for him, his 3 brothers, and his best friend. Didn't want to leave anyone out. That's us down on the lakeside at the end of the day. We continued a conversation and
there you go, now it's playing.
Hi everyone, my name is Regan and I'm happy to be here with my sponsor Jeff. I'm so happy, I can't explain my happiness, but my thanks goes out to you all, the church that has supported this kind of tour that has really shocked me, and I don't know how we're going to. Thank you guys, but thank you, may God add you more. Blessings to all of you. In Jesus' name, amen.
So the shorter video we made to play at the church presentation, and then we made a little bit longer of a video for friends and family, and also for this full length presentation.
So I am here with Regan right now. We are closing our day together. We had an amazing day. We talked about all kinds of wonderful things. He is an amazing man of God, and I shared all of the experiences that I've had thus far in my life to try and be helpful to him. We started off at the hotel. We got to know each other, And then we went to a mall and we talked some more, and then we had lunch and did all kinds of cool stuff. And now we're back at the hotel by the lakeside here, and we figured we would make a video to show the family that, you know, all the wonderful stuff that we've done today on the sponsor day. So
It's nice to meet you guys. I'm so happy. Thank you.
he is as sweet in real life as he will be in this video. He just has such a tender heart. He just loves the Lord so much, and he's just such a blessing on my life.
It's a blessing to us. About this tour, I feel so happy and lifted up because I didn't expect this, the gifts, the smiles that he has given me, everything that he has said to me. I didn't expect it. It was so good. Thank you.
Till we meet again.
We shall meet again.
We will meet again.
We will meet again.
We will meet again. Bye.
Bye.
I've watched this about 100 times too, and it's as emotionally impactful the 100th time as it is the first time you see it. There we are, parting ways at the end of the day. It was really hard to let him go. I wasn't prepared to create such a strong bond in such a short amount of time. Here's our all my colleagues and all of our sponsored children. Here's my descent back into Boston. So what did I learn? I found Ugandans to be friendly, sweet, loving, reserved, resourceful, and possess an amazing sense of community. I also learned that God is at work in Uganda, as you can see from the pictures. I saw firsthand that child sponsoring and daily prayer for them is bearing quite a bit of fruit. As for joy and hope, there is much in Uganda. Jesus said in Matthew 19:24, I tell you the truth, it is hard for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. Again, I tell you, it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of God. Jesus is not saying that if you are independently wealthy, you have no chance at eternal life. Don't miss this. He is saying that as we acquire wealth and stuff here on earth, that we are more likely to draw our safety and security from the things that moth and rust will destroy. I saw more joy and hope in a third world country from people living in extreme poverty than I see on a daily basis in my regular routine. Our problem here is we get so tied up managing our abundance that we lose sight of what matters. This is something I know at this point in my life, but was further reinforced on this trip. I have a question for you. When is the last time you did a self-check on your life and analyzed what you're spending your time and money on currently? I know that there is room for improvement in all of our lives. Upon closing, I would like to challenge you to do one thing this year going forward to get out of your comfort zone to further the kingdom of Christ, present company included. Invite a neighbor to church. Give up being on that school advisory committee to have more time for ministry. Move in the direction of a 10% tithe, or really give that person you wronged years ago. Really forgive that person you wronged years ago. Upon doing this, God will honor